What would your advice to him as a guy who was so successful in the league? What would you say to him?
Well, probably the first thing I would say was get off social media, because I think that really hurts a lot of these guys, that they're reading all the things about them, the good and the bad. I don't think it serves them well at all to be on social media. And then, too, the second thing I would say is just, put the blinders on. Go to work every day and just try and get better. These guys preach, getting a little bit better each day. Is it 1%? Whatever, however the moniker is, where they want to get a little bit better each day. That to me is really the way he should approach each day, with blinders on, and just forget about the outside world, the people that are outside of that locker room, outside of the complex that they're working in, and concentrate on what's important to you. All the little aspects of the game.
Two o'clock hour. Welcome back, everybody. JAKIB Media YouTube Network. We are Sports Take. I am Rob Ellis, along with Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn. And joining us now, the man who played for the Birds from 1982 to 1990, has transitioned as smoothly as it gets, smoother than I'm doing this introduction, into the broadcast booth with Merrill Reese calling the games on the radio. And he's living large out on the deck right now.
Look at this.
That's how the rich do it.
That is the one and only Mike Quick. Hugh, you look nice and comfortable, man. We just need your mic on. That's all we need. We need Mike's mic. There we go. No, not yet.
Okay,
yet.
now I'm in the party.
There you go.
What's up, guys?
Mike, good. First of all, we got to start with this one, man. Do we now go by Grandpa, Poppy, Pop? What do we go by?
So that's why I got put outside.
You can't wake the baby up.
Normally I'm inside, but I can't wake up the baby. Wednesdays is Pop's day to have the baby. So Pop's got the baby today. So she's taking her nap. So I get a chance to talk to you guys.
Perfect.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you this. How old is your grandchild?
She is 18 months.
Okay. So I have 3 grandchildren, the 4th one coming in September, and we keep the 8-month-old granddaughter because my wife said my oldest daughter's an RA, and her husband. So we keep them once or twice a week overnight.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm not used. I'm still trying to recover. 1:30 a.m. feedings, 4 a.m. feedings, changing diapers. I'm like, oh, what did you do, Mike? I didn't think I would be doing this at this stage of my life, man.
Yeah, nor did I, but you know what? It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
I have so much fun with her.
I got 2. One that's 6, and then I got one that's she'll be 3 this year. So I keep them in the summertime. So every time they live in Atlanta, so it's hot in Atlanta right now. So they think anytime it's hot, they go to Pop's house because Pop got the pool. So I think it's still cold up here, grandson. No, it's hot. It's hot up here. I'm like, no, it's still cold up here. The pool's not open yet. We're freezing up here, man. So just wait.
Well, Mike, the best thing I hear is you can play with them all day, do whatever you want, and then you get to hand them back off, man.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Listen, about 5 o'clock, I give her right back.
Nice.
Then you go play golf. You got to golf time, but
get a little practice in.
There you go. Well, Mike, look, we're getting close to the draft here, which naturally we're getting thoughts of the 2022 season. We're excited. Just give me your overall assessment of last year. I mean, it was a slow start. We all know that 2-5, I think at one point. There was an ugly game in Vegas. They got it together. They rally. They end up making the playoffs when not many of us thought that they would. What's your overall assessment of where things are right now, last year, et cetera?
Well, I still think that they're a developing team, and hopefully an ascending team. You got to take into consideration this new coaching staff, a lot of guys who don't have a lot of NFL experience on the coaching staff as well as the players. So this is a team that's they're in transition. And even looking at the most important position, the quarterback position, I think you have to realize that this year is still a transition and developing type of year for the coaching staff, as well as the guy who plays the most important position on the football field. So that's where I am. We had a lot of good things that happened with this team this year. but there are a lot of holes that need to be filled, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that, as well as a lot of maturing and growth that needs to take place for this team to get back to prominence.
Mike, I know for a fact through the years, you travel with the team, you're at most of the practices,
Yep.
You're in the office talking to these players all the time. Give me an insider's perspective of what Jalen Hurts has gone through, how he's handled it, and how you expect him to continue to handle it in 2022.
Well, I tell you what, D-Gun, I think that is the real strength of the young man, how he's able to handle different situations. You go back even to his college days and having to leave one school, or first of all, losing his position as a starting quarterback and transitioning to another school, and immediately the locker room kind of rallying behind that. And that is the type of person that you see him as he comes to the NFL. You see that same type of person. You see a lot of people that want to get behind him, rally behind him. Still, he has a lot of growing to do. He's really talented. I love the way he goes about his business. You talk about that part of his, he's a professional. He's going to put the work in. He's going to put the time in. Hopefully he's got the right tutelage over there that can get him to where he needs to be in this league. But the kid has a lot that you can build on. We see all of that potential manifest itself in being the quarterback that this team will need going forward. That's still in my mind yet to be seen, and we don't know that yet.
Well, see, there's the problem. There lies my biggest question. Is this coaching staff capable of bringing Jalen along and the team along in a way in which they're competing? I don't know. I mean, I think he went to an outside source to learn the quarterback position. I mean, the head coach is a wide receiver coach, but yes, wide receiver paid the poorest on the team. I mean, where do you think their progression is, and how will they be going into this year?
Yeah, that's a really good one there, Big B. That position to me is puzzling because, I played the position. I know that they've spent a lot of draft capital at the position, but you're right. The production is just not there. And if you want to go back to the coaching aspect, it could be the fault of that, as well as the players themselves not. So I think there's a maturity issue with one guy in particular, Hightower. I think he has a whole lot of talent. I just think that he oozes with talent, but we just haven't seen that manifest itself. Now, is that because he's not being tutored the right way, or is it just that he's not maturing at the speed that he should mature to be a good pro playing that position? Jalen Reagor, we haven't seen the production from him being a first-round draft pick that we were hoping to see, and I don't know where that's going, but I know that he needs a lot more work. Smith, he comes in out of Alabama and he's polished right away. He's NFL ready almost day one, but he needs a better cast around him so that all the emphasis is not on him, and so that you have other reliable targets on the field, and not just guys like a Greg Ward who can run all the right routes the right times and catch the ball, but you need guys who are playmakers, difference makers, and we're not seeing that out of the wide receiver core right now.
Mike, get it back to Reagor for a minute. I don't know if you have or not, if they've asked you to talk to him. What would you say to him if you were just going to sit him down as he enters year 3 now? We've seen the lack of production. We've seen, some immaturity issues, maybe not in the best condition, et cetera. What would your advice to him as a guy who was so successful in the league? What would you say to him?
Well, probably the first thing I would say was get off social media, because I think that really hurts a lot of these guys, that they're reading all the things about them, the good and the bad. I don't think it serves them well at all to be on social media. And then too, the second thing I would say is just, put the blinders on, go to work every day and just try and get better. These guys preach, getting a little bit better each day. Is it 1%, whatever, however the moniker is, where they want to get a little bit better each day. That to me is really the way he should approach each day, with blinders on, and just forget about the outside world, the people that are outside of that locker room, outside of the complex that they're working in, and concentrate on what's important to you. all the little aspects of the game. And they're the little things that are going to make you successful. Everybody has talent, but it's the guys that are detailed in the little things that to me separate themselves from the pack.
Hey, Mike. I think we all agree that nobody's under the microscope more than Jalen Hurts with this organization.
Correct.
In 2022, I would say the next player would have to be Miles Sanders. I mean, he's going into year 4 now, and this organization has to determine what he is or what he isn't. You know, we know he's had the injury history. He's missed 4 games the last 2 seasons in a row. And I think this organization has to define what he is or what he isn't moving forward. Would you agree or disagree that this is such a pivotal year for Sanders?
Oh, no question about it. And I do believe that if it's through free agency, and there could be some things that happen right before the draft, or if it's drafting, he's going to have other guys that are going to push that position. Mm-hmm. Now, I know Boston Scott is talking about, coming back. I know the kid, Kenny Gainwell, he's talking about he's going to tear it up this year. So you've already in-house got guys that are going to be pushing for more snaps, more time on the field. But that position, and Miles Sanders in particular, has fallen off. And but I think a lot of it has to do with, as I stated when we first started, the inexperience of the coaching staff, the inexperience and the growth of this team, because they're not there yet. They're not ready for prime time yet, but they are a work in progress.
As you go forward and you look at this team, the needs of this team going into this draft, give me 15 and 18, the position, not necessarily the player, but the position that holds the greatest need as they go into this draft.
Woo.
Here we go.
So, you got aging offensive linemen. That's a concern, but is that more immediate than the D line? So for me, I think you have to make sure that you have the bigs in place before you worry about the skilled position guys. I'm a skilled position guy, but I understand nothing really moves if you don't have guys that can dominate the line of scrimmage. So I think it begins there. I think you got to have a disruptor coming off the edge. I know they signed the local kid,
Reddick.
What's it?
Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick. They signed him, and I think he's a great addition. But I think still you need more people that disrupt the game. That's how you win in this league. If you allow quarterbacks to go through their progression and do what they want to do in the time that they want to do it, you don't have much of a chance. The athletes are too good. The only way you can slow those guys down is to disrupt them, get in their face, speed up their clock, mess up their timing. And if you're able to do that, then you have a chance. So that's where I begin. I begin with somebody that I know or feel real comfortable he can come in and disrupt things. As the offense start to learn and start to grow and start to get better, if you shore up your defense and you limit the points that you allow defensively, you have a chance in this league.
And Mike, let me stay on that theme for a minute. They haven't been in a real hurry to take linebackers high in the draft, first round especially.
Correct.
Any chance, because Gannon kind of hinted at this, is there any chance that may change this year because of a different coordinator, maybe some of the things that he wants to do? Any chance they come off that stance?
So I'm just listening, reading the tea leaves when Jonathan Gannon talks. He's looking for a different style of linebacker. He's looking for a difference maker. And I think if he has his way, that they will go high in the draft to get a linebacker, an impact linebacker. Guys, it was 1979 the last time they drafted a linebacker in the first round. I know that the position has been devalued to some extent, but when you look at a guy like Michael Parsons coming out of Penn State and all that he's able to do, all that he's been able to do, when you see blue chip players like that, you have to take a shot at adding that guy to your defense because, as I said, you want to be disruptive. If you don't have that, then you're not going to win because the athletes are too good on the offensive side of the ball.
You're absolutely right, man. From your lips to God's ears, we need a linebacker in the worst way. Oh, my God. I've been screaming that for the longest time, man. The longest time, man.
Well, talk to Seth Joyner. What does he say?
Oh, of course, he's been echoing it, man. He may say it a little different than I do, but yes, he's in favor of that also. Because like I tell everybody all the time, there's nothing like, when I'm lined up and when I was playing and I'm looking across the line of scrimmage and I see Ray Lewis sitting across from me.
Or,
I see guys like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hardy Nickerson, or, I played against great linebackers, and all of them, you had to account for them in the number count when you're, even with the defensive line being the way they were. If you didn't find out where they were, they could wreak havoc if you couldn't block them.
Barrett, even every day in practice, when you break the huddle, when you're playing against a guy of that caliber, you have to, it's almost like, where's Waldo? You got to find that guy, because you're going to turn your protection to that guy. You have to find that guy. And there's so much resources put into guys when they're that type of football player that sometimes you miss some of the other things and you're not as proficient at other things because you have to pay so much attention to that guy. When you have that type of guy, it really puts a stress on an offense.
Hey, Mike, you've been with this organization a long time, both as a player and as an analyst and as an ambassador to a lot of things that they do in the community. Why do you think they have devalued the linebacking position so much in terms of taking them in a higher position in the draft?
So I don't know when it actually started, but you hear all this conversation about a positionless player. Mm-hmm. And it's really because of, if you look at most of these offenses, most of them are predominantly 11 personnel, meaning that they're going to have 3 wide receivers on the field most times.
Yep.
So when you have that, you got to understand the game it's like fast break basketball. It's about throwing the ball. It's about getting the football out quickly. It's about trying to get up and down the field. And in that, you don't find the effectiveness of a Jeremiah Trotter type of linebacker, a guy who's 250 pounds in the middle, who's not going to allow you to run the football because that's not the style of offense that the teams in the NFL play any longer. Right. So you're looking for these hybrid linebackers, these guys who are 225 pounds, like the size of Ike Reese when Ike played. Mm-hmm. These guys that are 225, 235, and guys who can play the safety position or the linebacker position because of all the traffic that they're going to have to deal with in that secondary. Mm-hmm. That's really where the league has gone. That's why that big thumper in the middle, he's not. Many times when you have that guy, if he's fast enough, they're moving him out on the edge and getting him in positions where he can do other things.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you, you played and obviously the tail end of your career, you're dealing with some injuries the last couple of years, only played 10 games your last 2 years. But during your career, and it was a 9-year window here, you had more than 6,000 yards. You averaged more than 17 yards per catch, 61 touchdowns. They couldn't cover you. What would you, but in all seriousness, man, what would you do? What would you do now?
What
would you do now in terms of if a healthy Mike Quick playing in 2022?
It wouldn't be fair. Listen, you're not allowed to hit receivers. And if you go over the middle, you're not going to get hit the way they hit up. Like Andre Waters, Ray Ellis, Wes Hopkins, the guys that I played with, and the way they used to go after receivers, you couldn't do that today. They wouldn't be able to play. And without like that intimidation and without having that fear factor on the field that somebody's going to blow you up when you go over the middle, it just makes the game at that position just, to me, a lot easier to play. And if you're not going to hit me, you can't put your hands on me after 5 yards, then you're probably going to have a hard time trying to cover me.
Who's the guy playing now whose game most resembles yours?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. Tell you what, there are a couple of young guys that are coming out this year that I like.
Who do you like? Yeah, who do you like coming out?
So there's a kid that there's not a whole lot of talk about him. Wide receiver out of Georgia, George Pickens.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that he's a guy that they're missing. That because he was injured, might have been his sophomore year, junior year, because he was injured, and he's just not getting the attention that a lot of the guys are getting. But I just think that I think people are going to miss because I think he's a stud, and I think he resembles kind of. I like how physical he is, big body, runs well, catches the ball well, and he's got moxie, he's got guts. You're not gonna, as they say, punk him. You're not gonna make him back down. He's just, he's today. I just like the guy a lot.
Go ahead, Barry.
We're on the same level, man, because, his best year, the best year he had like 7, almost 800 yards.
Yeah.
But he was hurt. He comes back. He can't really get it going. They're playing, they're playing out of their mind. So he's flying under the radar. It's Pickens and Walker. Walker the line, not Walker the defensive end, but Walker the linebacker, Quay Walker. Both guys are flying under the radar because they're in Georgia. Nobody's really talking about them because those other guys have been taking all the shine. Both of those guys are my sleepers in this draft, man. Both of those guys are gonna play good, and you're gonna know who they are when they get to the team they're gonna be at.
So I know. I mean, the other names they're great. The Jameson Williamson, the Chris Olaves, and the ones that everyone's talking about, and they're great players, and I think they're going to be great pros. You have like 5 or 6 receivers coming out that I think they're going to be really good pros. But then there's a handful that no one's talking about.
Right.
And Mike, this organization, Howie obviously has his people that he relies on for information when it comes to draft picks. Because you have been in this organization for so long, because you played the wide receiver position, does the organization ever ask for your input in terms of, hey, Mike, who do you like? Especially at the receiving position.
Yeah. But does that mean that they're going to go out and draft a guy because I said I like him?
Well, but you see attributes in these guys and you watch this offense, and hey, what? I think this guy would be a perfect plug and play in your offense.
Indeed, just like I'll share it with you, my thoughts about players, I'm happy to share it with them or anyone else. And, you take that for what it's worth. If if you value my opinion, then you go with it. But if not, you have your own opinion. You can do what you choose to do. But when I'm asked, I will speak my mind. No problem with that.
And Mike, there's a lot of talk. We've discussed it a lot early in the show. Deebo Samuel apparently wants out of San Francisco. You see the way that he's utilized as sort of that hybrid. They'll use him in the running attack with jet sweeps, but he's also an unbelievable receiver. Is he a guy you'd be willing to sacrifice, and you're going to have to give a lot up to get him to look at to possibly come here?
I would say no. I just I don't think you want to, with the money that they're shelling out to wide receivers these days, I think you would have to, I think it would disrupt your pay scale if you pay him the type of money and you give up what you would have to give up to get him in Philadelphia. In a year where you're still developing. So if it's a situation where I need that one guy and I think he'll get us over the edge, yes, I could see doing that. But
in 2004, something like that.
Right. When you bought in Alshon Jeffrey and he gave you so much on that road to the Super Bowl, when you're able to do things like that, plug guys in because you need that other piece. But I just think that this team is not quite there yet, and I wouldn't give up what I would have to give up to get Deebo because I think it'll disrupt things going forward. In 3 years, maybe even 2 years, you're going to have to re-sign Devontae Smith. And if you give Deebo $20 million today a year, then what are you going to give Smith in 3 years? Mm-hmm. It's it could be crazy.
Well, see, that's the problem right there because you look at Jalen Hurts and what if he goes out and just plays well, they make it to the playoffs, he plays as a not a franchise winning quarterback, but a quarterback that's an NFL pro, consistent. He's the guy that you don't have to worry about him losing games. He's a manager. He's a game manager. He can go out and run when you want. But then you have to look at what you have to pay him going into next year. And we're talking about upwards of $40 million for just a little above average quarterback. But that's the going rate for quarterbacks these days.
That's correct.
And I think that's a problem that the Eagles are looking at right now.
I think also another factor that we have to take into consideration, Mike, as I said, earlier when Seth was on, is you don't know if a Deebo Samuel will flourish in this offense the way he did out there with the 49ers. I think Kyle Shanahan is one of the most innovative offensive minds in the game today.
Without question.
I can't say that about Nick Sirianni yet. You see what I'm saying? Deebo Samuel fit into a team that was structured with a lot of veteran players. He knew his place. My concern is would Deebo be a disruptive factor in here because he would be the star in this locker room. And if he doesn't get his touches, would he keep his mouth closed or would he speak openly, which would be a major distraction to an organization that has told us time and time again through the Doug Peterson years and even now through the Sirianni brief tenure, we want locker room guys. We want guys that are about we and not me. We don't know what I don't know anything about a Deebo Samuel, but I'm saying we don't know what kind of guy he would be.
But I do believe this. I believe you're better off, and I think you're speaking to this, when you're able to grow your talent rather than to go out and bring people in. So, and right now is the time when you're looking at these guys. They don't only look at what they've done on the field. They do in-depth studies on these guys, try to learn their background, try to learn their why. What's their reason? Why do you want to play football? This game is going to, more than likely when you're older, it's going to have an effect on your body. Like, why do you want to do this? And you got to understand the why of some of these guys. And with all the research that they do, that's part of the research, to understand the person that they're investing in, because it's a huge investment. When you're drafting a guy, when you're signing a guy anymore, it's a multi-million-dollar investment.
That's right.
So you have to uncover every stone and know as much as you can about that person. And then when you're able to get the right person and grow that talent, you have a much better chance of success. Because it's a part of what, you know what chemistry you want. You know what type of chemistry you're trying to build in your building. So not only do you want a talented person, you want a person that fits what you're trying to build.
Mike, let me ask you about Nick Sirianni, because what I liked last year about him was his willingness to adapt to what he had. Okay, I think we all, he played to his strengths. Ideally, in a perfect world, does he pivot off of that? Is he much more of a throw guy, or do you think he'll still stay true to the running game? I think we lost Mike.
Uh-oh.
We froze up a little bit. We'll see if we can maybe get Mike straightened out there, but we lost him for a second. But pretty insightful stuff. What I thought was interesting, one of the things I thought, there we go. We got Mike back up. I don't know if you heard me, Mike. Do you think Sirianni would, if he has the horses, if you will he pivot off of that run heavy and go back into the passing attack? Uh-oh. I think it's my question, guys. I'm going to blame me. I'm taking the blame on that one. Maybe I need to ask a different question. I thought Mike was really interesting on Reagor, and what he needs to do. I think a lot of this is, look, did they overdraft him? Probably, but I think a lot of it is on him as well. I don't think he has been as locked in as he needs to be.
Oh, you're absolutely right, man, because you look at Jalen. Jalen is not bad as what he played last week. Hey, there he is.
Mike, stop playing with the computer.
Come on,
man.
Mike.
Hey, it must be time. It must be time for my grandbaby to wake up.
Maybe we need to wrap it up. No, what I was asking is, Sirianni, do you think he will pivot off of the run heavy? Would the preference be to throw a lot more than what we saw last year?
Yeah, that's what you want to do, but you have to work with what you have. And if Jalen Hurts comes along and becomes the passer that they need him to be successful, I think you throw the ball more. That's how you win in this league. You got to throw the football. But you're right. He adapted to what he had last year. What he has is one of the best offensive line coaches in all of football.
Yep.
And what you have is a big mauling offensive line. And what you have is a quarterback who has the ability to affect defenses because he can run the ball and hurt you running the football. So when you look at my strength today, that's what it is. And I have to go with that. But if they're able to, in the offseason, Barry talked about Jalen going out, getting help from an outside source with his passing. I just think that's a smart thing to do. I think you have to try and each year get a little bit better in the things that you know that you're deficient at. So if that works and if they're able to continue to build, then you got something. But you have to work with what you have.
All right, last one, Mike. Sixers tonight, Game 3 in Toronto, up 2-0. We know how locked you are on the Sixers. Do they win? Do they win this series?
So when they turn it on, Toronto can't beat them. When they decide to play. Now, if they go out like they did in Game 2, and it's kind of just, we're here, we're going to win the game, and Toronto goes up on them right away, then, you get a little bit concerned. But I know that when the Sixers decide to play, that Toronto can't beat them. And James Harden's not even playing yet. He's more a facilitator now. Mm-hmm. He's not even shooting the ball. Now, I think in the next series, because they will get past this series, he's going to have to be a shooter more than he is right now. I think it's cool that, Maxey is doing his thing, Thibau's doing his thing, and the big guy, he's going to always do his thing. And you throw in Danny Green once in a while with a dunk. He had to dust off his shoes to dunk that football. That basketball.
That was a young Mike Quick in high school.
He hasn't dunked the ball in so long, he had to dust off his shoes to get up there. But it was cool to see. So I think they could possibly sweep Toronto. If they go up and decide to play, they'll sweep them, and they'll be able to get an extra day or two rest.
Hey, Mike, I'm not trying to start controversy.
Here we go.
You know me. I just keep it on the low. But hey, Merrill Reese just got a 3-year extension. Did Mike Quick get his extension as well?
Yeah, I just don't need to talk about it.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
That's my dog. Show me the money.
Yeah. I don't need to talk about that.
Hey, man, those diapers aren't free, Mike. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to the grandchild. We appreciate it, Mike. Always good seeing you, man. And we can't wait to hang out with you next week, man. We're really looking forward to it.
I enjoy you guys. I like talking to knowledgeable people, and I really enjoy you guys.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
A lot, man.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, let me remind everybody about this, Derek, because you're the lucky one who gets the subject line. Gunner invited me, okay? So again, just let everybody know, because we want you to come hang out with us, right? It's your chance to join us live, Ocean Resort Casino. Go live for the show, go for the win. JAKIB Media luxury tour bus to the draft extravaganza, presented by Stateside Vodka. You're in the region, you're interested in the seat on the luxury tour bus to Ocean Casino Resort for the JAKIB Media draft extravaganza. All you need to do in the subject line, now you're going to send this to Krause@jakibmedia.com. All you need to do in the subject line is put Gunner invited me. That's all you need to do.
Come on, everybody. Come on.
Come on. We need as many people as possible. Yeah, there's 36 seats, all right, on the luxury limo, 12 from each show. So let's represent Sports Take strong. We're strong. Right. We got to get more than 365 guys, than Sills. Come on, we got to represent strong. Refreshments, food, special prizes, and 3 lucky winners will sit in the VIP section for the live show. The king of content himself, Joe Krause, JAKIB Media, will communicate with everyone this weekend, provide all the details. Let's fill that bus. All right, quick timeout. Come back. We got a lot more in store for you. We'll jump around a little bit, get it back to the Sixers for sure as they have their game tonight. You heard Mike Quick's prediction. Toronto can't beat them if the Sixers play their game. We'll talk some Sixers. And jump around. I got a couple other things. Jerry West is unhappy. And I'll tell you why when we get back. I'm Rob Ellis, Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, JAKIB Media, YouTube Network, Sports Take.